Hi students, how are you all? I'm sure you're enjoying yourself in this festive season of Dashera, Navratri, Naurati and Vijay Dashmi and what not. You're all geared up to celebrate, dance around in beautiful, lovely clothes. But don't forget to enhance your knowledge, your learning, your growth each and every day. I'm back with the second part of the chapter, A Bicycle in Good Repair. As usual, I've got my honeycomb ready with me. I hope you've got your PDFs open by now, as well as your books open by now. So let me just start it right away. Yes. The first part was all about this narrator of ours, the writer of ours, asking for a person to come along with him on a bicycle ride, on a long bicycle ride. But what happens in the process is this oversmart person, who is the riding partner, he unscrews the entire bicycle to the disappointment of the writer, the narrator, and the narrator doesn't know what to do with all that open bicycle. So coming to the narration and explanation of the second part. Here I start. He then said that while he was about it, he would see to the chain for me and at once began taking off the gear case. Now this person, who is that over smart person, he wants to open up the gear case now to see if the chain is working properly or not, the cycle chain is working nicely or not. One thing I would like to tell you here, that before reading this chapter I had little knowledge about the cycles, the bicycles, but now I keep on reading it and I keep on searching for certain words in the dictionary or Google them around. So my knowledge has enhanced over this one entire week. I've been reading this chapter again and again. So knowledge about bicycles has really grown and enhanced. So yes, this person, he wanted to open the gear case to see if the chain is working properly or not. This is seriously funny. I did try to dissuade him from that. What is dissuade? Dissuade is persuading someone not to do something. किसी को कुछ काम करने से रोकना, मना करना. It's dissuading. So I tried to dissuade him from that. The narrator was seriously getting worried about his bicycle और उसने कोशिश की कि ये और इसको खोले नहीं तो क्या होगा. Finally bicycle जो है वो it will come into bits and pieces, टुकड़ा टुकड़ा हो जाएगा सब, and it won't be able to be the same machine it was earlier. So he just wanted to persuade him, please don't open it further. I'm okay with that. I told him what an experienced friend of mine once said to me solemnly. So what did the narrator do? He told this man something which his friend had said to him some times back. If anything goes wrong with your gear case, sell the machine and buy a new one. It comes cheaper. Why did he say that? He said, if anyone goes wrong with your gear case, that means that mister, if my gear case is gone, if it doesn't get back into shape the way it was, अगर ये खराब हो गया तो sell the machine, sell the bicycle and buy a new one. It comes cheaper. And just buy a new one. If this gear case goes away, if this gear case is not the same, then I will have to buy a new bicycle. There won't be any other alternative for me. I will have to go for another bicycle, which would be terrible for my pocket. He said, people talk like that who understand nothing about machines. Nothing is easier than taking off a gear case. Now this man, as I told you, is too overconfident about this stuff. He says, your friend must be kidding. He must not be knowing anything about this machine, anything about bicycles. That is why he's saying like that. No. It's so easy. It's a cakewalk to open the gear case and fit it again the way it was. So nothing is easier than taking off a gear case. I had to confess he was right. Let's see. In less than 5 minutes, he had the gear case in 2 pieces. Good Lord. He opened the gear case and it was in 2 pieces, lying on the path and was growling for screws. So the gear case was lying on the path and this person was growling for screws. What is growling? Now growling is when you just crawl in a way, you move around on your hands and knees like a baby. That is growling. So this person, this man who opened the gear case into 2, he was just finding the screws here and there on the path. He said, It was always a mystery to him the way screws disappeared. What else can you expect? This person said that now screws are disappearing here and there. Screws are tiny things. Screws बहुत छोटे छोटे होते हैं. Just like nails, they are छोटे छोटे parts हैं. अब वो पाथ के ऊपर खोल के रखा हुआ है उसने साइकिल को. कोई इधर चला गया है, कोई उधर चला गया है. And this person is clueless कि कहाँ चले गए screws. Screws have disappeared here and there and everywhere. Common sense continued to whisper to me, stop him before he does any more mischief. You have a right to protect your own property from the ravages of a lunatic. Now, we all have that thing. That is called common sense. Common sense means we can judge when something wrong has to happen, something bad has to happen. कई बार हमें पता चल जाता है कि अरे यार ये नहीं होना चाहिए. अगर ये हो गया तो that means we are gone. कुछ गलत हो जाएगा. But what? We let it happen sometimes, right? We let it happen and we thinking कि नहीं we are mistaken, we are overrating our conscious. But नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होता. Sometimes when we think something bad has to happen, वो हो जाता है actually में. Bad happens. So this writer is saying that common sense continue to whisper me, hey, stop this man. What is he doing? Before he does any more mischief. What is mischief? Naughtiness. Here mischief is actually more than naughtiness. You have a right to protect your own property from the ravages of a lunatic. Now, this ravage of a lunatic is the damage which he has done to the machine. And lunatic, as you know, is a mad or a crazy person, and he's absolutely crazy when he was doing all that to the bicycle. And the common sense is coming and the common sense is going in the narrator's mind, and he's saying, please stop. But he's not doing that. Probably he can't say no, maybe. Take him by the scruff of the neck and kick him out of the gate. His mind is actually getting violent. He's saying, just take him out of the scruff. What is scruff? Yeah, scruff is actually the back side of the neck of any person or maybe an animal. You just hold him by his scruff and just kick him out of the gate. Just tell him to please get lost. Don't do this to my bicycle. And this is what is going on in the mind of the narrator. He's not speaking anything. No, he's not even uttering a single word. It's all in the brain that he just wants to say all that, desperate to say all that. But alas, it's not coming out anyways. But I'm weak when it comes to hurting other people's feelings, and I let him muddle on. Like so many others, like so many of us, he's also too weak. He doesn't want to hurt this man who's trying to experiment with his bicycle, getting violent, turning it into pieces. And he's saying, okay, let him. Maybe he's knowledgeable. Maybe he knows better about the machines than me. So he let him muddle. What is muddling? Muddling is mixing up things, making a fusion and making nothing. Actually destroying a thing is also muddling. So he says that, he thinks that, oh, I can't let him just do it. At the same time, his conscience is saying, I can't stop him. Why should I hurt this man? He gave up looking for the rest of the screws. He said screws had a knack of turning up when you least expected them. So finally, what happened? This man who just unscrewed everything and lost the screws on the path, he just stopped looking for the screws. He just said that, no, it's not my cup of tea. I can't do that. I can't find out the screws. He said screws had a knack of, what is knack? Knack is simply the ability to do something, a skill to do something. And he said that I don't have that skill of finding out screws, and that now he would see to the chain. Now I am done with the screws. मैं screws और नहीं ढूंढ सकता, मुझे नहीं मिल सकते, because छोटी सी चीज़ है. I don't have that beautiful ability of finding out these little things, tiny things. So now I will go and see what has happened to the chain. He tightened it till it would not move. He tightened it, fastened it, and tightened it to the core. It was super tight. And then next he loosened it until it was twice as loose as it was before. Now what this guy was up to, only he knows. Even the writer was not able to understand what this guy was up to. Then he said, we had better think about getting the front wheel back into its place again. If you remember, the front wheel was completely out, and then finally he thought that he will not be able to find the screws, and he had tightened the chain and loosened it. So he gave up on almost all the things and he wanted to fix up the front wheel again. I held the fork open and he worried with the wheel. At the end of 10 minutes, I suggested he should hold the fork and that I should handle the wheel, and we changed places. So, what did he do? He just held the fork. Now, what is a fork? Fork is that part of the wheel, part of the cycle, which is in the front, and it holds the front wheel. If you have just seen it, you can refer to Google. It's a long thing, it's a long two things together, and they hold the front wheel. So, I held, that writer was holding the fork, held the fork open, and he worried with the wheel. That means he just tried to fit in the wheel in that. At the end of 10 minutes, he was trying for 10 minutes, trying and trying and trying and trying, but was he able to do so? I don't think so. At the end of 10 minutes, I suggested he should hold the fork and that I should handle the wheel. He was completely unable to fit in the wheel into the fork. It was difficult for him, and so what did he do? He just said to the man, now it's your turn. Now who will do what? That the man should hold the fork and that I should handle the wheel. And we changed places, which is switch over places. Now who was doing what? Initially, just try to understand this. Initially, the narrator was holding the fork, that long thing, and the man was trying to fit in the wheel. After 10 minutes, the narrator was holding the wheel and tried to fit in, and the man was holding the fork. At length, we did get the thing into position, and finally, yes, it was able to get inside the fork. The wheel was able to get inside the fork with a lot of efforts, and finally, and the moment it was in position, he burst out laughing. What did the man do? He just started laughing hysterically. Isn't it strange? But why? Let's just try to find out the reason. Why did he do that? What's the joke? I said, what's the joke? He said, well, I'm an ass. I'm sorry for using this word, but it's in the chapter. It's a part of the chapter, so I will have to use it. So he said, I'm an ass. It was the first thing he had said that made me respect him. That was the first thing that actually made the writer respect him. Now, this is a strange thing. Why was he respecting him? Because he is confessing that he is a crazy man. I asked him what had led him to the discovery. And he said, we've forgotten the balls. Forgotten the balls. Balls were not there inside. So, he just confessed that yes, I'm crazy here, there's some problem here because we have forgotten to put in the balls. I looked for my hat. It was lying topsy-turvy in the middle of the path. So what did the writer do? The writer actually looked in for his hat. If you remember, he put all the balls in the hat. So now he was just trying to find here and there, where is the hat, where is the hat? And it was lying topsy-turvy in the middle of the path. The hat was lying topsy-turvy. What is topsy-turvy? What is topsy-turvy? Topsy-turvy is upside down. The balls are gone. Yes. So it was topsy-turvy in the middle of the path. He was of a cheerful disposition. He said, well, we must put back all we can find and trust to Providence. That means we should try to find out, and which the number we find out, no problem. We can just try to put in back all the balls together. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Actually, I don't know why so much of disturbance in my recording today. Yes, so I'm repeating from here. He was of a cheerful disposition. He said, well, we must put back all we can find and trust to Providence. He said that, okay, let's find the balls out here and there. We should look for the balls wherever they are. And we can just try to put them the way they were and trust to Providence. What is Providence? Providence is a supernatural power of God, where you can just, trust to God. Oh, God, just fix it the way it was. So it is hilarious, but that's what he said. We found 11. How much did they found? only 11. We fixed 6 on one side and 5 on the other, and half an hour later, the wheel was in its place again. So, how much did they fix? They fixed 6 on one side, 5 on the other side, and it took them half an hour, and half an hour later, the wheel was on its place again. It was there. It need hardly be added that it really did wobble now. Now, the question is, yes, now the cycle wheel, the front wheel was wobbling. You remember what is wobbling? It's doing tick, 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 teda meda, chalna. That is wobbling. And now, earlier it was not wobbling. Pehle wobble nahi kar raha tha, but now it is wobbling. What is the reason? Yes, the reason is the balls were not in place and they were not all the balls inside. So as I have told you that 6 on one side and 5 on the other side, there total 11. There were more balls. So since the balls were not all together fixed on the proper place, they were not complete. So it was wobbling now. It was wobbling. A child might have noticed it. He said it would do for the present. So even a little child could say, oh, the cycle is wobbling. Look, dekho, kaise chal raha hai, teda meda. So, but this man, he never wanted to give up. So he said, okay, this is fine. It would do for the present. It would be fine for the present. I said, watching you do this is of real use to me. It is not only your skill that fascinates me, it is your cheery confidence in yourself, your inexplicable hopefulness that does me good. Now, strangely, I found it very strange that the writer, the narrator, is actually fed up of this person who is trying to screw, unscrew, and do all sorts of things to the bicycle. But at the same time, now he is appreciating this person. Now he's praising this man and saying that you are so skillful. Your skill fascinates me. I really adore the way you are doing this with a lot of hope. You're not giving up. You are being so good and you're such a good mechanic and what not, he's saying in his best of words. But why is he doing so? Maybe he is trying to encourage the man to do it fast and just leave it, just forget about it. Let's see. Thus encouraged, he set to work to refix the gear case. He was actually very encouraged after listening to all these appreciative words, and he just started doing it, refixing the gear case with a lot of speed. He was just getting pacey on that. He stood the bicycle against the house and worked from the off side. So where did he just set the bicycle? He just rested the bicycle against the house and he was trying to just fix it from the off side, and then he stood it against a tree and worked from the on side. He just fixed it against the tree now. First against the house, then against the tree. First from the off side, then from the on side. From all the more he was just trying to fix the bicycle. Then I held it for him while he lay on the ground with his head between the wheels and worked at it from below and dropped oil upon himself. This guy is absolutely crazy. He's working on the cycle like a trained mechanic, but he doesn't really know how to do it. So he just goes here and there, sometimes a house, sometimes a tree, and then the narrator is holding the bicycle for him and he's laying down on the ground. His head is between the wheels, imagine, and even the oil is dropping on him. Then he took it away from me and doubled himself across it till he lost his balance and slid it over to his head. Now he's taken the charge of the bicycle from the narrator and he's doubling, he's just bending on the bicycle, and what is he doing? Finally, what happened to the man? He just lost his balance and fell down over the bicycle and he slid over onto his head. Then he lost his temper and tried bullying the thing. He finally lost his temper. He was trying so hard. We can't completely blame him for that, because he thought that he's confident enough to fix it back, but he was not able to do so. So he finally lost it. He lost his temper and he was just, and tried to bully the thing. That means he was trying to bully the cycle. Oh God, why aren't you getting fit? Why aren't you getting fine? Why aren't you getting the way you were? The bicycle, I was glad to see, showed spirit. and the subsequent proceedings degenerated into little else than a rough and tumble fight between him and the machine. So the bicycle, I was glad to see, showed spirit, and the bicycle was also being very, very adamant at the same time. The bicycle was cooperative. Yes, the bicycle was trying its best. Now this is funny, and we can use some poetic device or figure of speech over here, where we think that the bicycle is just like a human, but the bicycle is not actually a human, and the subsequent proceedings degenerated into little else than a rough and tumble fight between. He was trying to fight with this machine. He was trying to fight with the bicycle, and the bicycle was also in its own way trying to fight back with this man who had just disavowed it, just unscrewed it all. One moment the bicycle would be on the gravel path and he on top of it. So what was happening? The bicycle was lying down on the path and the man was on top of it. And what happened the other moment? The next, the position would be reversed. So the first position was the bicycle was lying and the man on top, and then the man was lying and the bicycle on top. Yeah, he was on the gravel path and bicycle on him. Now he would be standing flushed with victory. Wow, done it finally. The bicycle firmly fixed between his legs. But his triumph would be short-lived. Why his triumph was short-lived? He fixed it, yes. But triumph, what is triumph? Anybody? Triumph is victory. It's very simple. Triumph is victory, but his victory or triumph would be short-lived. By a sudden quick movement, it would free itself and, turning upon him, hit him sharply over the head with one of its handles. Now imagine what happened. He thought that he has fixed the bicycle. He thought that he is all done. He's triumphant. As I told you, it's victorious. Now what happened? Just there was a sudden jerk. There was a sudden jerk and a quick movement of the bicycle, and the bicycle freed itself from his clutch, from his grip, and turning upon him, and it turned upon the man who was trying to fix it, hit him sharply over the head. It knocked him over the head with one of its handles. Now he was trying to fix it, and the bicycle was not so much in control, not so much fixed, and the moment he let it loose, thinking that it's fixed, with a jerk it just went on him and hit his head with a handle, and he just realized that no, it's not yet fixed. At 1:45, that's the time, dirty and disheveled, cut and bleeding, he said, "I think that will do," and rose and wiped his brow. Now what was the physical disposition or physical position of this man? He was dirty, he was disheveled, he was cut somewhere and he was bleeding over there, and he said, "I think that will do." That means this is fine, I have done enough for the bicycle and it will work for now. This is kam chalao, theek hai, chalega. And rose and wiped his brow. He just wiped his brow, maybe the sweat or the bleeding, it's not mentioned, so we'll just take maybe he just wiped his sweat, and he rose, he got up. The bicycle looked as if it also had enough of it, and even the bicycle, if it were human, it would have screamed over this man that please forgive me and just leave me alone. It's been enough for me, I am done with you. So the bicycle also had enough of it. Which had received most punishment, it would have been difficult to say, because the bicycle received the most punishment. You remember the way it was in the beginning of the chapter, a perfect bicycle, and now it was wobbling and the handle misfit, and even the front wheel is gone, and the gearbox is not done properly, sometimes loose, sometimes tight, if you remember. I took him into the back kitchen where, so far as was possible, he cleaned himself, and the writer took him where? To the back kitchen, and just told him to wipe himself and clean himself and just set himself right. Then I sent him home, and finally this guy went home, and probably the narrator took a sigh of relief. Thank God he's gone, and my so-called bicycle, not just so good looking and perfect now, but still my bicycle is with me, all in a single piece. It's by Jerome K. Jerome, and it's abridged, and I hope you liked my narration. I have already uploaded question and answers of part 1. Soon I will be uploading question and answers of part 2 as well as the word meanings. Till then, do watch, like, share and subscribe. Bye bye.